Okay, so I wanted to deal with the new thing with Geo saying that, oh, I'm not, he accuses me I'm not even on YouTube, and he has this new account that's his name and has 2 subscribers. I just want to point out that nothing negates what's happened. And I figure that that's the reason why shit has slowed down. The emails have slowed down, all of that, because they figured people are looking into this shit. That it's just so bizarre that they're looking into this child trafficking shit. Because just the stuff that I've explained, Isaac Cappy and I were working together. Then he goes to Australia, comes back, ends up dead. 11 months after he's dead, they blow up the Erling, Iowa gas station when I'm living right across the street, basically. Well, no, I was right across the street. And it was in my backyard, basically. There's a highway that divided us. And all of this has been done to shut up about this child trafficking bullshit. And they don't want anybody, they think if they shut me up, they'll make this all go away. But this is where I stand. So let me just point out where I'm in this whole situation and how I look at it. It was the last blizzard, and I'm on record. You can go back and look. The last blizzard that we had in Harlan, the munchkin came up to me, baiting me, wanting to shake my hand and look me straight in the eye. And so I did. And he was the third one that I have done that to in town. And I used him because he was going to touch. There were people in the community that I needed the darkness. I needed them to be infected with the dark. And what I ended up was I was like a virus. Because the first time, which I'm also on record with, was the cop that came over when that woman threw a rock through my window, and I believe it was Chad Butler. And I did, that's how it started the first time. And fucking Oompa Loompa and his fucking dumbass meth head friend out there just laughing while it's all happening. Because it's blatant and in your face. That's how it works. They want it blatant. They want it in your face. So that was the first time I did the same thing to him because I wanted Neil Gross and his whole department and all that to be touched by the dark. And I am, because heaven helped me, when I shook them in the hand, shook their hand and looked them in the eye, I was able to put the dark inside of them. And sorry, I'm just cleaning up stuff. Was able to do it. I'm on record talking about this shit. People do not understand, and maybe they don't even believe what the fuck was going on when I was a kid in those rituals in Hummel Park and all that training at Offutt Air Force Base with Michael Aquino. But whether or not anybody believes or accepts it or anything, fuck, what difference does it make? It doesn't change what is. That's what I'm saying about this blizzard that ended up happening and the munchkin baiting me, and I wanted to touch the community. I should have known that it was actually going to get, it would be bigger than what I thought. Because now, all of a sudden, they fucking hung flyers all over town with my address and my picture calling me a fucking pedophile. And so now, the whole town knows who I am. And there's this judgment thing going on. You know? There is this judgment thing going on. And I know that what I can do works, and I know they know Because like I said, when that Deputy White came over from the Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff, because he had a noise complaint about that broken fire alarm that I was throwing away in the garbage, I couldn't, it was in my backyard. And yes, it was beeping, but I couldn't even hear it. And it was right in my backyard. But it was the middle of winter. Someone complained. So Deputy White shows up. But I was okay. And I was in my t-shirt and boxers when I answered the door. Because fuck, I didn't give a shit. What do you want? And so I went to the back to get it. And fuck, I don't know what he thought. But so he followed me all the way through the house, which I didn't give a shit about. And but when I went to go say goodbye to him, I stuck out my hand to shake his hand. And he handed me his hand like he was a proper English 18th century woman. I felt like I was supposed to kiss this dude's hand. And at the same time that he hands me his hand like that, he's turned away from me and has smacked his face so hard on my glass outdoor window. I thought he broke it. I felt really bad for him because it had to hurt. He did not want to look me in the eye. So they know. They know. And I know they know. And what is happening is happening. And people think, no, it couldn't happen around me, couldn't somewhere else, blah, 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 blah. I'm just telling you, God exists. God exists. And this is all playing out on this weird spiritual level that everything is providence. It's all providence. Because I have the Oompa Loompa and I have the Munchkin. And then just the other day, I was able to scan another neighbor. Young, beautiful, used to people just bowing down to her. Dark. She's with her little brother. It was interesting. And because I was told of who she was when she walked in, of course I lingered because I was able to scan. Scanning people is part of the training. All of the shit that was going on at Offutt Air Force Base, with Aquino, what they were doing was they were picking kids that were empathic, who thought in pictures. That was key to all of this shit. From what I've been able to look at, this is key. And so they taught us they trained us how to see what's there with energy, just empath. You just open your mind and let it come. But they taught it with torture. Wrong answers, wrong shit was, and a lot of fear and a lot of fucking torture. And it's really fucked up that what saved me in the end was the father of that little girl who showed up when I was 10. That my family made me light the person on fire. And it's interesting because everyone is fucking gone except the fucking one who handed me the match and made me throw it on that guy. You are still alive. I was overjoyed. Remote viewing was it was going places in your mind and being able to figure out the energy of what was going on. And the more you know, the better, the easier it is. Remote viewing was huge. Some people called it astral projection, but it was big with the training. Not just with me, with a bunch of people, with a bunch of kids. Because I wasn't just the only one. The fucking thing wasn't designed for me. But I have my own place in this. Because when it comes down to it, the sins of the father fall upon on the shoulders of the son. Is it fair? No. Am I obligated? Most definitely. And I will bring justice to the sins of my dad. That's why I'll never stop with this. I've been doing a lot of thinking with all of this stuff because I want to know where I'm coming from and how it started for me, and is it still that way? And that's the whole thing. It's the same as it always was. I will bring justice to the sins of my father. And fuck these motherfuckers. And I know what I was trained to do, you know? The majority of you know about witchcraft is that you're not supposed to fucking do it. And then you have all of these just uneducated, fanciful ideas of what it's all about. But Michael Aquino was my handler. And I don't think he's dead either. And I rejoice. Just like I did with the fucking bitch who handed me that fucking match and made me light that dude on fire who was just concerned about his little girl. You're still fucking alive. And the nice thing about it is that I'm able to just send the dark to people. But running into, it was Providence. That's why I titled this thing, It Was Providence. Because what I see is chaos and betrayal and ego. But chaos. Don't know how the fuck it's gonna work. But, you know, and don't really care. I'm just meant to be able, you know, when it goes down, I'll see it. The dark is not playing. The dark is not playing. There are two sides to this shit. You're either on the side of the light and God, so you're loving, you're doing what we're told. You love God, you love everybody else. Or you're on the side of the fucking dark. And you ain't gonna like the dark. You know? You ain't gonna like the dark. Yes, a lot of the Bible is from pagan shit. Do you know that the first practice in every culture of mankind is shamanism? That was the first spiritual practice, and it's found in every single culture. It was first. And so I believe that those, you know, the kingdom of heaven is inside of us and all around us. And it's all about energy and what you focus on. And right now, there is becoming a division, an ascension. If you have love in your heart and you're doing what we're supposed to be doing, just being fucking decent human beings, you'll ascend. But all this dark ass focus, you know, it was fun because when I saw this person in this store, they went out of their way to act like they didn't recognize me. And so that was great. That's why I stood in there for a while. Because I can just look at you and then just focus and let it go. It's kind of like shamanism. I just get to see what's there. You know? It's all the shit that we were trained to do. Super spies. It was part of being super spies. But Aquino, my stepmother, heaven is answering my prayers. Heaven is answering my prayers. And the dark is here to claim its own. It's a bad time to fucking think that the dark makes you powerful and hide your shit in the dark. You ain't gonna like the fucking results. And they're coming. And now, I don't care what anyone does, because it's really too late to actually change course. There's just not enough time. It's just because the shit's coming down. Hard. It's coming down. It's building in such a way that they don't even... It's all biblical. There's no way to overcome what is happening to the earth right now. And yes, the earth will survive, but mankind will not. We will not survive. And they can, if there's underground cities and underground tunnels, good. Go ahead. You ain't going to like what happens when you're down there. The plates are going to shift. Everything is going to shift. We're all in a period of judgment, and the reaping is right before us. Fill your hearts with love. Focus on what we're supposed to do. Or protect the fucking dark. You know? The stupid shit about it is that, do I believe that neighbors are involved with the CIA? No, I don't. But do I believe that Doug Mesner and his little fucking satanic temple bullshit and the money that they have with their nonprofit that just kind of flows through, do I think that they can buy people fucking off to do what they need them to do? Yeah, I do. And are they in the area? Yeah, of course they're in the area. 2 Christmases ago, they put up this fucking Baphomet statue that was made out of tinfoil. And then some dude at the Capitol building in Iowa. And so everyone was talking about it. And then some dude from Missouri, who was some government dude, came up and fucking beheaded the stupid thing. And it was just so much fucking drama. But it was at a point where Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, really needed the focus, the topic of the conversation, to change. Because that motherfucker, dude, you have no idea. I've warned you throughout the years. I warned you throughout the years. And now, time is coming. It is time to pay the piper. And when it comes down to it, I don't give a fuck what you associate it with. I am here to drag all you motherfuckers into the dark. That's what I'm here for. That's always been my focus. All I've ever wanted to do was fuck your group up. That's all I've ever fucking wanted to do my whole life. My whole life. It has been my focus. And now it's at the point where I realize that everything is done. It's just playing out. And you can say that you're not on YouTube now and you can slow down with the emails, but it doesn't change the fact of what is, you know? And really, it doesn't make any difference what idiot you convince. It doesn't change what is. And nothing is secret on the other side. Nothing is secret in heaven. All of this shit that Michael Aquino was teaching people was to actually use their consciousness and their empathy to read energy. And there's a reason why Aquino was afraid to open the door when I was simply at his front door with Doug Millar and my friend Spence. You know, I just wanted to shake the dude's hand. I wanted to meet him. And he wouldn't even answer the door. He stood upstairs in an open window with his wife, loudly panicking with whispers, speaking my name. It wasn't even Doug Millar that he was afraid of. Because Doug Millar was the new Ted Gunderson. He was Michael Aquino's controlled opposition. At the very beginning, that's the reason why I knew Thomas Schoenberger could not be trusted. Because the moment he bragged to me that he interviewed Michael Aquino, he was the last interview that Michael Aquino ever gave. The fact that he said that to me, I knew that he was connected to Michael Aquino. Because I know how Michael Aquino works. He wouldn't just give an interview to just any willy-nilly. You know, that's the whole reason why years ago when that Wolf dude did that rally in Washington, D.C., that they had bought me a plane ticket for and actually spent an extra $70 to give me a seat where I had room for my legs. They were flying me out, and that dude told me on the phone that he could guarantee me that he was going to get me an audience with Michael Aquino. And the minute he said that to me, I knew what the fuck I was going into, so I fucking canceled the trip. And the interesting part about that is that they wanted to do a press release, and I was going through my publisher for them to do the press release. So I canceled the trip. I canceled the plane ticket, and my publisher called me like a day or two later and said, please don't go to this rally. And I started laughing and told her, you know, okay, I've already canceled, but why are you saying that? She told me all the information that he gave for the press release, none of it was real. None of it was true. And she didn't know what I was flying into. I knew what I was flying into. If had I flown out there, I would have never come back. And who the fuck was involved with that intimately? Because I was on the phone with that wolf dude when that dude sat down at the same fucking table. But what was his name? Titus Frost. Titus Frost was involved with it. And who does Thomas Schoenberger just rave about? Titus Frost. That's another one that needs to be looked at. Totally connected. You know? Had I gone out there, oh yeah, I would have gotten an audience with Aquino. It would be the last thing I would have fucking seen before I died. But heaven was watching me then, too. You just don't understand that heaven actually watches over everything that's going on. And I'm able to return intent. The whole game with Sherilyn was meant to actually put me in jail where they were going to fucking murder me, you know? And no, it didn't succeed. But the intent still makes a difference, especially right now, because we're in judgment, you know? Especially right now. And I know the shit that I was trained to do as a kid, and all of the fucking rituals that they did to open me up to be the vessel for the fucking Antichrist. What the fuck do you think they were doing when they were fucking filleting little boys while they were screaming until they fucking cut out their hearts? And that was going on at Hummel Park, you know? And so, and all of those blood rituals that were done, they all make a difference. They all fucking count. All of this shit still counts. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make any difference what they convince other people to think. It doesn't change what is. Doesn't change what is. Death is coming. You better think about your souls, because death is coming. And if there is dark in your fucking heart, you're in the goddamn dark. That's how it's going to fucking work. If you have love in your heart and you are obedient, you'll ascend to the new garden. That's also how it will work. But death is coming. The sun is fucking cooking everything in the universe. Everything in our solar system, anyway, is being cooked. Because this time it's with fire. And so there's a reason why the volcanoes are going off like they are. And everything. It's God. And they'll have you focused on fucking aliens and all of that shit. You know what I'm afraid of with that 31 Atlas is all of the shit behind it that they're not talking about. Because I think it's the first. I wonder if that shit, because it's just new in our solar system, is the shit that Beetlejuice just shot out at us. You know? That's what my concern is. Because it's all a dog and pony show with this group. It's all glamour. None of it is real. And so, but regardless, it's only going to take one super volcano to go off and they're all having fucking problems. And it's the reason because the CME and all of the bullshit that's coming from the sun, all of the X flares, all of the CMEs that heated plasma that's just flowing into our planet because our poles are in the process of switching, so we have really no magnetic field protecting us. And that is what is happening. You know? Providence. That God is working in my life. The things that are happening and I'm being exposed to are happening for a reason. And it's a much bigger reason than the small things that people actually look at in their lives. Because most of the time, let's be real, most people are just focused on their wants and their desires and their opinions. And that's all they focus on. And this child trafficking and all of this shit that Aquino was involved with, because all this bullshit that Aquino was involved with is a cult. And it's his group that is still fucking running things. And that's what needs to be brought down. All of the connections to Michael Aquino need to be brought down. They need to be investigated. And this whole, oh, everyone is protected by national security, if that's the case, then you need to ask yourselves, why? It all needs to be looked at. Flat out. But the shit that Michael Aquino and his little fucking group of Nazis trained me to do at Offutt Air Force Base, they did it because it works. The shit worked, and I've gotten really good at it. Shamanism just helped me control what I was already out of control, because what they opened up inside of me as a kid didn't just go away. Again, the fact that what saved me was my dad and stepmother and sister and her husband and my brother made me light that dude on fire, ruined everything. It wasn't part of my programming. I wasn't drugged. They figured, fuck, he'd gone through so much shit. But it was part of programming. And I was always drugged. Every time I was there as a kid, I was fucking drugged. You know? Like so many others. But with Michael Aquino, when I did deal with him, I told him the same thing over and over and over. They taught the wrong person their shit. That's me. The kid that they fucking pledged their souls to because they were convincing me I was going to be the vessel for the Antichrist. So they pledged their souls to me. Not only their souls, but the souls of everyone before them and everyone who comes after. And while they're pledging their souls, it's not like it's a game of Monopoly. They're filleting little boys that are fucking on an altar screaming in pain. Screaming in pain. That's the shit that I grew up with. That's the shit that I grew up with. And I am not going to let this go. Funny enough, I'm just not going to let it go. Had never an intention to let it go. Because what Aquino and his group did worked. It worked. Think about your fucking souls. Don't think about your souls. If there is not love and compassion and empathy in your hearts, you will not cross. You know? I'm referring to Hummel Park. That's where the rituals happened. The training that they were doing, all of this mind over matter and focusing on energy and a lot of theories of quantum physics, mantras that were given, but it was taught with torture. Wrong answers got bad effects. The shit that they're doing right now with this directed energy weapon, they've had this shit for a long time. It's just when I was a kid, they had to stick you in a room to do it to you. Now it's obviously smaller and more compact, you know? But as a kid, they stuck you in a room. I've gotten through this before. Max Spears, the stuff that he talked about, he obviously went through it too. He was the one who said if you go through it long enough, your body actually gets used to it and adapts to it. I thought he was fucking mental, but considering that this shit really started for real out in Washington and hasn't stopped, yeah, your body does kind of adapt to it, you know? The souls of Humble Park don't cry out in pain anymore. When my dad died, my stepmother sent me a check for $100, and the hat that my dad wore when he was dying. And that's all I got from her and my dad's estate. And she thought that what she was going for is all I got from my dad is his old hat. And that's what she gave me. For me, it was a godsend as a shaman, because I parked in Dodge Park and walked over to Humble Park on foot, and did a whole ceremony and called the souls to me, wearing my dad's hat, and helped them all cross. I'm very good at psychopumping. That's the reason why they think bringing me down is actually going to help them. But as a shaman, you're taught that when people die, and that's what psychopumping is, you go find souls, make sure you help them cross over. And you have to wait 3 to 10 days, they say, with shamans, because the soul doesn't just disconnect from the life immediately. It's not like you're dead. The soul lingers for a bit because there's an adjustment and a painful deed that you have to go through. The soul mourns the life before it lets it go. But all of heaven is here right now. No one is dead. And all of heaven spiritually is here right now. And not only do I believe that, I believe that there is an army of angels from heaven that are here now. We're all being called. We're all being called. And it's whether or not you'll answer that call or not. And we're all being judged. All of the shit that we're doing makes a fucking difference now. More so than it ever has. And so it's not my place to say who gets claimed and who doesn't get claimed. But I'm telling you, you have hate in your fucking heart. You have dark in your heart. The dark is going to claim you. That's how it's going to work. And at this moment in time, where we're at all right now, if I were all of you, I would worry about your own souls and stop worrying about everyone else's. Because what's going to make a difference is your soul and your choices and the things that you have chosen to do in your life with your soul, saving your soul. That's what your focus should be. Because it doesn't make a fucking bit of difference what anyone else is doing. It's not going to make a difference. Not a fucking bit of difference. And if people were wise, they would have that in mind. I am telling you, being trained and raised by a fucking bunch of Luciferian Nazi motherfuckers whose shit came straight out of the fucking concentration camps. Right out of the concentration camps. And so it worked on a lot of people. But when it comes down to the dark, the truth is there is a 10-lane mega highway. And people are going 300 fucking miles on it, and it's bumper to bumper traffic, and they're all going 130 miles an hour right into the goddamn dark. And the path to ascension is narrow. And if you think you got it and you're infallible, chances are you don't realize that you're on that highway. You're not on the path. Humility and sacrifice. Will you sacrifice yourself for what is righteous and for what is right? You know? And I'm not talking doing crazy, stupid, fucking their shit. But heaven works miracles through us if we just allow it. You know? And if you're focused on violence and fear and anger and hurting other people and shit like that, trust me, you're going to get claimed by the damn dark. And now, all in town knows exactly who I am now. They've all started to look at what I've been involved with. For whatever reason, I'm here. You know? Funny enough, I stayed in Shelby County because I trusted Neil Gross. You know? That's how dumb I am. What ends up happening is I tell myself, no, I'm just being paranoid. No, it can't be like that. No, I just did the same fucking thing with Sherilyn. You know? They'll say I'm paranoid. But I end up fighting all of that because not everybody can be bad. You know? The thing is to be loving to those around you. I'm not a good one to talk about forgiveness to, because that is not my role in this situation. My role in this situation, as I have always seen it, is the antithesis of Jesus Christ. Even though I serve heaven, I serve heaven without a doubt. I serve the word. I could not give a fuck less about forgiveness and redemption. You want that? Go read the Gospels of Jesus Christ and do what the fuck you're told. My focus on all of this stuff has always and solely been about these motherfuckers who fucking carved up little boys, whose screams I have dreamt about my whole life. You know, as I've gotten older, it's gotten less, but still under great amounts of stress. Great amounts of stress. That shit happens. I end up dreaming about fucking screaming little boys. So I don't let it go. You know? And where my place is accountability and retribution. The dark that they love so much, that makes them so powerful, that they think is their friend, is about ready to fucking claim them. And they ain't gonna like an eternity in the dark. And everyone is equal in the dark. Doesn't make any difference if you were involved with killing kids or not. If you find yourself in the dark, you get to experience it all. In for a penny, in for a pound. That's how it works with the dark. So, death is coming. It's already here. We just don't realize that it's right on top of us. And that 31 Atlas thing. Is it a comet? Is it a spaceship? The question is it Wormwood? Is it part of Wormwood? Because everything is Providence right now. The shit that we're going through is heaven. It's God. It's not me. It's heaven. All of heaven is here. All of heaven is here. And it's judgment. What is being judged. And no fucking lie is going to have any effect, because nothing's hidden in heaven. Nothing is hidden in heaven. And people can argue all they want. But with that said, Geo, just because you guys have now backed off, which you have, I mean, compared in comparison to what it has been for basically the last 2 years, definitely has backed off. But that just doesn't negate what the fuck was. What happened, what you did before, doesn't negate any of that. Who cares if you're on fucking YouTube or not? Who gives a shit? You're obviously on YouTube. But you were on YouTube and bragged about being in Harlan on a post on YouTube when Owen ended up dead. The same time Daniel Dowd, as Pootie Twang, the original Pootie Twang, posted all those live videos of Harlan at the exact same fucking time. And what the fuck you do now doesn't negate what you did then. You wanted credit. You wanted to brag and take credit for it. I'm simply giving you to fucking credit. I'm giving you exactly what you wanted. I'm giving you fucking credit. All of this shit is going down. And again, you didn't murder Owen just because he was my friend. You didn't murder him because he was a therapist and my friend. Chances are you murdered him because of where he stood with that whole Ricky Chaddick case. Ricky Chaddick was abducted by my father and my stepmother in my grandmother's white Cadillac. They abducted him and took him and they had a soundproof room made out of their garage. So they could do whatever the fuck they wanted and bring whatever kid in. No one's gonna fucking hear them when they're in their garage. It was soundproof. Just like fucking Johnny Gosh. Noreen Gosh herself told me that my dad called her. That's the reason why my stepmother left the phone off the hook for 8 hours and my dad laid on the floor for 8 hours because he couldn't call out for anyone to help him. Because she didn't want him using that phone. Nothing negates any of the truth of this. And the truth has its own energy. I'm grateful that my stepmother's still alive. Because the darkness is fucking has a hold on her. Like it does all of them. Like it does all of them. We're in judgment. We're in judgment. Aquino, who's a fucking Luciferian, who ran Temple of Set, who fucking did all this weird shit to kids and was protected by national security, all of his shit that I went through with the kid, nothing negates the shit that he did. It doesn't negate the rituals and all of this stuff. It definitely doesn't negate the training and all of that stuff. And I told Aquino, they taught the wrong person their shit. They taught the wrong person. Frankenstein always loses control of the monster, and the monster always comes back to fuck their shit up. And that's all I've ever cared about. That's all I've ever cared about. I want them in the fucking darkness, and I want them to experience the shit that they made those little boys deal with. That's how this all started. That's what I wanted. And I was definitely willing to give my life and my soul to do it. What God chooses to have me do, regardless, when this started, I offered my body and soul to it. The very dark that they bound me to as a child, before I was even born, but way before I even knew what the fuck was going on, all of the shit that they bound me to. And then they want to bitch and say, oh, well, none of that is real. And yet, those fucking murdered kids were real. They were real. And the energy that has been created, being able to detect and influence energy was part of my training with Michael Aquino. That was all part of being this super spy thing that they wanted everyone to be. You know? And they sucked. and they hurt a lot of kids. And all the energy that they created, because not one of them has ever paid a fucking day's price for any of this shit. All of that energy has just built and built and built and built, because not a fucking one of them has ever paid a day's price for any of it. And all of that energy that has built and built and built is waiting for them all to experience personally in the goddamn dark. That's what's coming. And people can say whatever the fuck it is they want to say, but we're at the ascension. We are at the ascension. You know, fill your hearts with love. Think of your souls, because these motherfuckers are going down. They're going down. There's nothing that they can do. The dark has infected them all. It will feed their paranoia and their egos in such a way that I don't know what is about ready to play out, but I think that it is Providence that I saw that person with their family member. It was bizarre what I was looking at. I think something is up. Something's coming and it'll show it to me. Because heaven knows. It's true. I've just gotten, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this stalemate. I'm sick of it. And I think heaven is about ready to show me that it's not much of a stalemate at all. I'm just an impatient bitch. And I am. I am. Isaac Cappy didn't have a dead man switch. I don't know who the fuck he is, but whoever he is, he needs to be looked at, because he's all part of the fucking cover-up of Isaac Cappy. There's no goddamn dead man switch. Compared to the video that he did the day before he ended up dead, saying that he wasn't suicidal, and if anything happened, he didn't do it to himself. And every time he said that, you could hear someone in the background hurting a fucking dog. Whether it was his roommate's dog, or DeFango's dog, or fucking a dog they got out on the goddamn street. Who the fuck cares? Every time he said that he wasn't suicidal, you could hear someone in the background fucking hurting a goddamn dog. The day fucking before he ends up dead. There's no goddamn dead man switch. There's no fucking dead man switch. They fucking tortured that man to death. And then put his goddamn dead corpse on a fucking bridge. And then we're so fucking proud of it that you can go buy a 2 deluxe CD set of everything Isaac Cappy dead. You know? Because there are people who have bought that fucking 2 CD. Who does that? With autopsy photos and everything. It was a bit of a fucking overkill situation. They murdered Isaac. And then 11 months later, they blew up a goddamn gas station. Fuck, had they murdered me, they would have murdered my neighbors too. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a fuck. Let alone the 2 men that were in the gas station that would have fucking died. They didn't give a fuck who they hurt. And then they lie about it, which is easy to prove. Compare the official document that they have shown everybody to the KETV news report that was done that night, where they interviewed Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross. And they interviewed Dan, the owner of the gas station, who was in the gas station, who got out of the gas station, went back in the gas station, got his brother-in-law, and got them both out to safety before the second explosion that is not talked about in the official report, that says that the place filled with gas and one explosion leveled the place. But how do you explain Dan and his brother-in-law And I know a little bit of something about it because I was also interviewed in the KETV news report that night. I was standing outside my sister's house that she had just bought. She was in Omaha. She had just bought that house a couple weeks before. And I lived on the same block, right up the block on the other side, right at kitty corner to that gas station on a big ass hill in a big ass white house that used to be an old funeral home. And that all happened 11 months after Isaac Cappy's shit. I never really thought about it, but I've started to actually think about timelines to all of this. That's the reason why Gio can say whatever the fuck he wants. Oh, I'm not on YouTube now. Yeah, but you were. And what you're doing now isn't the same as what you were. For any of you. And you can do all the fucking bullshit that you want on YouTube and Rumble and all of that stuff. But everyone's looking at you because it's not about me. It's about this fucking child trafficking bullshit. That's what needs to be fucking investigated. If you want to investigate me, that's fucking fine. But when you don't find anything and there's nothing to find, these dumbasses would have found it years ago. But it's funny how when you serve God, you don't want to do... It does not make any sense that I was raised to believe I was going to be the vessel for the Antichrist, but I didn't want to be the vessel for the Antichrist. So what sense did it make for me to do all of this creepy fucking dark ass criminal bullshit? Because wouldn't that just help me be the vessel for the Antichrist? And I didn't want to be the vessel for the Antichrist. That's the reason why they can't find shit on me. That's the reason why they keep making all of this bizarre shit up. And so, regardless, they're fucked. They're fucked. The dark is here to claim them. There ain't a goddamn thing they can do. They better hope that they can fucking live forever, and in the end, who's gonna want to? They better think about their souls. I think heaven is about ready to play something out for me. Because I'll find out. I mean, obviously, whatever is about ready to happen, I have no clue. I just know something is, and heaven wanted me to see the energy of all of it. And now it'll play out. The dark likes to entertain. And I always can see. Not always. I know shit's happening that I don't have a fucking clue because I don't keep up on any of it. I don't care. That's the part of having trust and faith in heaven. I let heaven deal with it. You know? And people can say whatever they want, but heaven is in charge of the dark too. The dark is mother's. Mother is completely in charge of the dark. The light is father's. Heaven is in complete control of both. We're at the ascension. You will either have love in your heart and empathy and do as we are told. Love God, love everyone else, love the word. That does not mean worship anybody or anything. You worship the word. That's how it works. And if you're not fucking doing that, you're going to get claimed by the dark. And all the evil, angry shit that you do, that you hide in the dark with, and it makes you feel powerful and all of that other bullshit, it's not going to take you where you think it's going to take you. And you deserve every bit of it. You deserve every bit of it. It'll be fun to watch. Because I don't even know who can see how it fucking works. You know? Shit, it comes out of fucking nowhere. And so, your soul isn't your own, whether you want it to be or not. You know? Be found wanting. That's the thing. You won't like it. The worst thing is to be judged and be found wanting. That's key to it. But people are going to do what the fuck they want to do. They're going to do what they want to do. But I just find it interesting that I shake that Munchkin's hand, look him in the eye, shake his hand, because he has that smirk on his face. And then all of a sudden, flyers are going up, what, a few months later? Not even. Maybe a few. With my address and my picture calling me a fucking pedophile, blah, 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 blah. So now everyone in town knows who I am. And what I gave the Munchkin, I didn't realize it was going to go through the whole fucking community. And now it has. Everyone's focus, at least for a minute, has been on me. I would listen to what I'm saying. That's all I'm suggesting. You know? That's all I'm suggesting. And as far as these fucking child traffickers, you're fucked. You're fucked. And those who serve to protect you, they're fucked. And those who are all grouped in with them, they're fucked. This whole thing is just, it's over. It's over. If you want to serve the dark, fine. Fuck, be claimed by the goddamn dark. That's how it fucking works. That's how we always were told that it was going to work. It is the same thing now as it was back then. It's the same thing. And so, take it for what it's worth. But do what the fuck ever you want. Do whatever you want. You know? That's their mantra. Do whatever you want. Nothing matters. Do whatever you want. But it does matter. It matters quite a bit, actually. Just saying. I would at least give it a fucking moment of thought.